Alright, pull up the stopwatch. Hello everyone, welcome back. It is Darian64 welcoming you back to another episode of Castlevania Bloodlines. In the last episode, we beat Stage 1 and we had a hefty conversation about Castlevania Judgment and Castlevania Lords of Shadow and how objectively bad those games are. But today, we are going to finish up Stage 2 and we'll see what other things we could talk about today. So let's see. Oh, this music! I need to talk about this music. I forgot the name of this track, but this song actually appears in Castlevania Circle of the Moon. And it's one of my favorite tracks. I love this track. It's in my top 10 easily. But no, this track actually shows up in Castlevania Circle of the Moon for the Game Boy Advance. And I like that game. Even though it's hard, I like that game. I like good old Nathan Graves. He's an underrated protagonist. Nathan Graves was actually the first non-Belmont protagonist to take over. I think it went Nathan Graves, Shinoa from Order of Ecclesia, and then it was Reinhard Schneider. I may be wrong on that. I might be missing somebody, but Nathan Graves was definitely the first, well, I'm not gonna... Okay, technically, Alucard was the first non-Belmont, technically, if you want to get technical. But Nathan Graves was the first protagonist in the... They call it the era of no Belmonts. This was specifically the time period where Richter chose to abandon the vampire killer because during the events of Symphony of the Night, he was possessed by the Lord Shaft. The priest Shaft, he was possessed. And he was beating himself up about it. And he felt as if, because he got possessed, that he tainted the vampire killer. And he felt as if he shouldn't even be allowed to touch it anymore. And he took the liberty of ending the Belmont family right there. So, in the era of no Belmonts, we had characters like Nathan Graves, the Order of Ecclesia, Reinhard Schneider, characters like that were all taking over doing the business of the Belmont family. So yeah, I think that's pretty neat. And we've also got John Morris, too. John Morris is one of those. This is also in the era of no Belmonts, by the way, and I died like an idiot. But yeah. But yeah, I feel like the era of no Belmonts is a pretty underappreciated, I'm gonna say saga in the Castlevania timeline. Because it's pretty impressive when you have other characters that aren't Belmonts taking down Dracula and his minions. Because the Belmonts were specifically created as vampire hunters. The whole family was trained for centuries to be vampire hunters, period. But then you have characters that come out of nowhere, like Nathan Graves, and just taking it to town. And I think that's impressive. These bosses are pretty easy if you space out their attacks and look up for their openings. This guy, though, with his polearm axe. Come on. There we go. Ah, now see, this is what I'm talking about. That was a boss, okay? 2 bosses right there. But the stage hasn't ended yet. There's still a boss we have to beat. And the stage isn't over. Which means if I got a game over, I'd have to start at the very beginning of the stage, and I'd have to fight that boss again. So yeah. One of the quirks of this game. One of the many quirks. And there's a Medusa head. Speaking of Medusa heads, I've seen so many articles in magazines like Game Informer. I've seen plenty of lists, top 10 lists videos or whatever, talking about, oh, the top 10 most annoying video game enemies. And Medusa heads will always make it there. You can always count on it that Medusa heads are going to be there, okay? But the problem is that like many things in Castlevania, I just don't see it. Like, yeah, Medusa heads, I can understand how they're annoying. I can totally see how they can be annoying, alright? But with me, I don't know. I have such a fine sense of pattern and timing that Medusa heads are usually never a problem for me. Usually never. And maybe in the original ones they are, because the controls are more stiff in those games, and you really have to work around what you have. But generally, Medusa heads don't really give me that many problems. Generally. Oh, but these guys are annoying, because it almost seems random where their heads go. Oh, that dude almost touched me. And hitting them can be annoying. One interesting thing about this game that I didn't find out till just yesterday. Well, that's nice. One interesting thing I just found out yesterday was, typically in most Castlevania games where you have a whip, if you hold down the square button, usually it'll do this thing where you could flail the whip around and just mess with the D-pad. But this game doesn't do that, which is, you know, acceptable. But one interesting thing I've noticed that this game does is that even though it doesn't let you flail the whip around, what it does do is it holds the whip in place for a second, which can make this useful for hitting certain targets while you're jumping. And that's really useful, and I wish more Castlevania games did that. Because watch, I'm going to hold it for a second. It holds it for a second, and that's really useful. I like that feature. I would say it's even more useful than the whip flailing, because even though the whip can flail, wow, that's kind of messed up. I should have saved, man. I should have put a save state there. Now I gotta redo the stage again. Oh wait, I don't. Oh, okay. That's a pleasant surprise. I was expecting to do the stage over again. Okay. Maybe I was wrong? I don't know. Maybe, because, okay, you saw what that was, right? I had a limited number of continues. My guess is that if I run out of continues, that's when I have to redo the stage. That's my guess. Because I could have swore if you got a game over, period, you had to redo the entire stage. I guess they're being pretty merciful this time. That was... I'm not even going to say anything. We're going to ignore that. I'm not even going to say anything. But yeah. I feel like last episode was a bit too short because I didn't have my stopwatch ready and I didn't want to risk going over the time limit. But this episode will fill itself out just nicely. Oh wow, he committed suicide. Nice. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. I'm glad someone recommended this to me in the comments. I know who it was, but alright, you know, I'll just say it. It was another streamer that I actually watch. I'm gonna give him a shout out right now. It's the channel name is Rage Quits with Friends. I've been watching them for a while. And they also got the Castlevania Anniversary Collection around the same time I did. Matter of fact, they got it the same day I did. I need to shut my mouth sometimes. But they got the Castlevania Anniversary Collection around the same time I did. And we were both talking about how awesome it was and how we were both playing Castlevania together. And it seemed like we both had different games we wanted to play. Like for them, they wanted to mainly focus on Castlevania 3, Bloodlines or whatever. And I was busy playing like the first one. I was busy playing Simon's Quest. But with them, I had actually recorded the 4 episodes of the first Castlevania, and then they tuned in, and they were like, at the end episode where I was like, hey, you guys want to recommend me a game to play? They commented, and they were like, you should do Bloodlines. I'm like, okay. How many times am I gonna die here? Okay. I feel like I'm talking too much. I feel like that's what the problem is. I promise, guys, I'm not a scrub at this game. I'm not bad at Castlevania, I promise. I'm never usually this bad at Castlevania. I can guarantee you that. All right. I'm getting carried away with the conversation, and I'm not focusing as much. That's the problem. And you can call that an excuse if you want, but I'm being serious. I'm just getting carried away with these conversations. I mean, I guess it fills out an episode, right? Oh, whoa! It froze on a. It froze his head on a. I don't know what you call that. A hit frame? Where his head was flashing when you hit it. It froze on that. That was weird. Please don't knock me back into a bottomless pit. I'm tired of dying that way. I think that's like the 3rd time I've died that way. Oh, we at the boss? No, not yet. Oh, nope, not the boss yet. I'm not risking that. Get hit with holy water. There we go. Come on, give us a boss. Oh, it switched to boomerang? I didn't even notice I got a boomerang. Huh. Oh, this part. Axe, nice. Alright, so we got 3 Minotaurs down here butting heads at the wall, and that's a pretty dangerous situation, but they only take 3 hits, so it shouldn't be too bad. Okay. Alright, there we go. I got hit once, but I mean, I guess that was bound to happen. Ah, yep, this boss. Pretty interesting concept for a boss. All you gotta really do here is just whack at its middle portions until it like shrinks down to your level, and then just whack it in the head, and it's that easy. He doesn't really do much. All he does is that he hits the ceiling, makes a bunch of rocks and fucking boulders fall. Yeah, like right here. He just makes rocks fall down from the ceiling, and you gotta dodge him. That's literally his only attack. That's all he does. Other than that, you just keep whipping at his middle portion, waits for him to get down to your level, and then you just hit him. Alright, don't fuck up. Don't fuck up. Alright, there we go. Come on. You can try to block your face all day if you want, but it ain't gonna help. And it's perfectly exposed. And he's dead. Pretty easy. Pretty easy boss fight. But now we don't have to worry about restarting the stage if we get a game over. Because that would be the end of the stage. Give me that orb. Alright, I think that'll do it for this episode. You already know what it is. You already know what it is, guys. I will see you guys in the next episode when we take on Stage 3, and we continue this playthrough. And it looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, Italy. Nice. Alright, I will see you guys in the next episode. Later.